Welcome to Doing It My Way by Beata Matras, a podcast about project and product management, communication, brand, and IT. All these topics will definitely improve and have a positive impact on your career. So join me today, subscribe, and expect a new episode every week. Thank you. And today I have a very special guest, Elena Zhukova, a co-founder of OKR Poland. With over 20 years of experience in helping companies across Poland, Germany, Switzerland, Sweden, and the USA build and implement effective strategies, Lena is a true expert in the field. She has successfully introduced the OKR, which is Objectives and Key Results, to 20 organizations across various industries, including IT, manufacturing, logistics, aviation, medical, e-commerce, gaming, services, banking, and government sectors. She is passionate about helping founders create companies that bring them happiness and freedom. So, together with Elena, we will delve into the world of OKRs and discover how this powerful framework can transform your work and life. Welcome, Elena. It's great to have you here.
Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
So I'll kick off with the first question. Lena, can you share your key career milestones and how your journey with OKR started?
Hello everyone. Hello, Beata. Thanks for inviting me here. My career milestones. My career is, like you said, it's over 20 years and it's over 20 years in IT. It's quite a journey actually, and my first job was a network administrator and developer in software house. That's how I started. During my studies, I finished my technical university first, and then I became a BA, so business analyst. And for several years, I worked as business analyst in various industries, and I guess around 10 or maybe something around that. In one of the company I worked for, it was a time, it was a hype of agile transformation, hype, I would say. So one of my company, they started an agile transformation. So from waterfall to Scrum. And that was a time when I was a leader of BA team leader, and so I was participating in this transformation and one of the leader. And actually, it was one of the moment when I started to be interested in change management. I'm starting from very far of my, you're asking about milestones of my career. So this is like story, how I really find out an OKRs. And, as a business analyst, I was always curious about strategy because, it was always, I don't know if familiar with BA, but BA it's a work where you constantly finding the goals, strategy, why are we doing things, finding the purpose, doing the research, etc. And there was a moment in my life, let's say, when all of this experience was just connected, like BA experience, my strategy analyst experience, my transformation experience, and long story short, I was hired for the first time, like around, I would say 8 years ago, for the company for specifically supporting the transformation process, where I was in a strategy team and we created a vision strategy, and we were looking for the framework, which will help us to make sure that 1,000 people of organization will work in the same direction. So that was a moment actually when one of my colleague from Australia, he brought OKRs and said, here's the tool. And I was like, Okay, tool, OKRs. What is that? And when we started to use it, so like coming again back, it was a tool where all my own dots were connected, like strategy, analysis, business, operations. It was all in once. And of course, in the beginning I had like no idea how OKRs really worked, so I made a lot of mistakes in my first OKR implementation. But now I would say, after like 20 plus transformation, I can tell that this tool is a great trigger for the change, for the transformation in the company. So long story short, the OKRs, it's somehow just connected everything I did from the very beginning. And it's not one the tool I use. Like, so it's one of many tools I used, but somehow OKRs became a hype around what I am doing.
And my next question is actually like, can you explain what is so special about OKRs and how they differ from other goal setting frameworks?
There are a lot of other frameworks for the goal settings, and I would say they are quite all very similar in a sense of the idea why to use that. So maybe like first, one of the difference with OKRs, it's first of all it's a quite popular framework. So and there is no guide, like for example in Scrum guide or so. There is no real rules how to use OKRs. But what I really like is that we can really learn from different practices, experience, implementation in companies, about what works, what not, and how. And um, what else? What else? I would say that to me, the OKRs, it's not just the goal setting framework. So it's not objective. Of course, it calls objective measured by key results, right? So it's about goal. But to be honest, the like setting the goal is just one of the piece of the whole framework, because first you need to really clarify the strategy, because it's a strategy implementation tool, and there's a lot of this operational work with goals. So really introducing the new habits to the company, setting the practices, setting some kind of discipline, new culture of work within the team, or within of the whole company. And I would also say that independently, when I come to the company and I help the company to implement the OKRs, it's quite usual that we do not use even OKR as a word. So we are setting that, like, we are working with goals, we are setting the goal setting framework. To me, doesn't matter. I mean, you are asking about the difference between the frameworks, and there is not so much difference between them until you really understand why you are using it. So, like, really, first you really need to ask yourself, okay, why you are using OKRs, right? So, like, what is the purpose? So, why do you need it? What do you need from that? And maybe the also big difference, as I said in the beginning, it's that there are quite a lot of experience shared in the internet, in the conferences. So you really can use an experience of others and take those good practices, I would say, to your company, and use them. Not sure if I
Yeah,
answered the question.
I think understanding, the reason we are using the specific framework or tool, because OKRs as other goal setting frameworks is just a tool, yeah. And I think the key what you just mentioned is that it's important to know why we're using that, and to align it within the company and to like again create this discipline, create the culture, create the new habits around the framework, if it works, of course, yeah, or to make it work. And let's dive into like the professional application of OKRs. So during my experience with OKRs, I've encountered many struggles, and one of them was fear of getting started and actually like perfectionism. Like that, that was my stopper, I would say. Um, and I'm wondering, what are like the most common challenges that organizations face when implementing OKRs, and how they can overcome it?
Do we have a lot of time?
What are key challenges? Okay, we
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
have to like focus
key
on
challenges.
everything. Yeah,
Okay, key challenges. I would
yeah.
say, I would, I don't know what is the key. I would share only what is like kind of common for the companies I worked for, I worked with, or I observed also from the people who I speaking with. So like, what is the most popular I observe, right? So, and like first, which come to my mind is to putting into OKR as a tool too much responsibility for all pains in the company. You know what I mean? They're like expecting then when you implement OKRs, that all problems will disappear. And I think that like setting this high expectation to the tool, and by that sometimes putting too much, I call it administration, you call it perfectionism around the tool itself, and focusing really on the method. That's exactly what probably you meant. I mean, we can talk about that. Instead of really thinking on the outcome and the context of the company and which business problem are we solving. And this is what I observe for the corporates, for the really big companies, because there somehow become sometimes and grow itself that they create a lot of roles around OKRs, a lot of support roles like near Scrum Masters. We have a lot of OKR champions and Scrum Masters, and now team leaders, and a lot of these support roles, instead of really thinking, okay, how we can work with goals in a business context. So like really focusing not if these OKRs are correct or written down in a way, like which someone's guidebook says, but really thinking, okay, what should we achieve by goals itself? It's like first common thing I observe. um, for the smaller companies, because I mostly work with the like MSP, so like middle and small companies. um, that they start with OKRs, and there's a huge need. I mean, it's also about big companies, but that's, let's say, when I start to work with a smaller one, that when we start to talk about OKRs, the first big challenge, and I would say step we need to overcome first, it's lack of the strategy, or strategy is really not clear, or strategy is not a strategy but just kind of vision not written down, or sometimes it's just a sentence that we want to improve everything around the company. So we just need to do something good, or just earn money. So it's a really writing, you need to make strategy clear first before going into OKRs. Mm, Another one, maybe not key, but what I see again, I mean, this is my observation and my hypothesis, that it's coming exactly from this need of following the rules, that if everyone use quarterly OKRs, then we will use also quarterly OKRs. While, for example, the development cycle is 4 months, or development cycle is 6 weeks, or we have a seasons, and let's say the season is 5 months, then why should I set the 3 months OKRs? It will not help me. The same with development cycle, right? If I don't know, I'm doing releasing in 2 months, then 3 months OKRs will not suitable to me, etc. So like really not thinking wisely which cycle you need to set. Another one, which roles, like to set, again, setting too many roles around instead of really thinking, okay, I need leaders, I need good facilitators, I need the team around, I need planning, discipline, I would say, doing retrospective, etc. But not just following the rules, but really thinking. And for example, it's quite often, probably our listeners are working in software, in IT software industry. So the Scrum, Kanban, and other agile frameworks are quite famous and popular, right, in our companies. And when we work in Scrum, we have some kind of cycles. We said we can have some kind of setup of the team, and then if we try to put OKRs just on top, adding some additional meetings, additional events, it will not work, because everyone will tell you, oh my God, this is an artificial. It doesn't help us. It's adding some kind of additional work, additional meetings with no value. So again, coming to maybe it's not just a challenge. It just kind of pitfalls maybe, right? So you are introducing OKRs with thinking of not changing the whole organization. And to be honest, I know that it could sound scary, but when we introduce OKRs, we have no chance to not change the organization. It is the transformation of the organization, because you change the way how you lead. It changed the way how you plan, how you prioritize, how you streamline your work from the very top to the team. So that's how I see it. It was a long answer. And you said that it should be the key.
Yeah, but I noted those. So to summarize, what I caught, it was like too much responsibility on OKRs and like too high expectations towards them, too much of admin, meetings, perfectionism, and lack of focusing on the outcome and the context. Too many support roles instead of like focusing on the business problem that we're solving. Lack of clear strategy, and the need of following the rules, for example, 3 months instead of adjusting it to the organization and to the like working operating model, I would say. So that's what I caught.
You're so good in summarizing. See? Thank you. Yes.
That's my habit. That's my habit from a day to day, and like also note taking. Yeah, that's a kind of superpower. On the other side, because we mentioned, the challenges, and I would add from my side is also like this incorporate word long approval process. So the moment we develop the OKRs, the approval process of them is like, for example, too many teams has to approve it, or it has to go high, and the moment it's approved, it's like 3 months or something like that, and they are no longer, for example, relevant, because the market has changed. So that can also, I think, be one of the challenges. So if we focus on the other side, so how can companies actually incorporate OKRs to get better results? Can you share some of the best practices for setting and achieving OKRs in a work environment?
Two, the most important, to make it short. First and very first question, probably I will repeat myself, but it's really important to ask, even if it's during the implementation already, sit and write down the answer to the question, why do you want to implement OKRs? In other words, how will you recognize that you will succeed when you will implement them? And how will you measure that? So it's kind of OKRs to OKRs. I know it sounds crazy, but in the same time, it's a way to check, are you trying to solve right problem by the right tools? Just an example. If you want to improve, let's say, I want to a few examples of the OKR implementation goals. I want to improve the way how our leaders give a feedback to our teams, or I want to improve the way how the team perform, or we have some struggles with planning. You can think about that OKRs will help you, but actually that's probably not the right tool. So it's not, this 80-20% rule. So you probably will implement something. It will help you in doing something, but will not help exactly in this case, right? So if you would like to really streamline your work in the company, you want to make sure that the strategy is implemented, that you have clear distinguish between business as usual and strategy work. You have you focus more. The most important goal, or most often goal, companies say that it's like, we want focus more. We want to align with each other. And again, this is kind of classical example from myself. I quite often share it in different podcasts or talks, that if you set the goal of OKRs, let's say, we want to have better alignment, just an example, and then you set the structure of goals of 200 goals, like you exactly gave an example. So each team, you have, 50 something teams, and each team have at least 3 or 4 goals. And then it take months to align with each other. So to me, it's a first question. Are we, again, implementing the right way, even of the tool of OKRs, if our goal is to align, right? So again, choosing or another one. We want to focus, and then you write down 20 OKRs. You want to focus. Yeah. Okay. Nice. So how those 20 goals will help you to focus? So first to answer yourself, why do you need these OKRs, and how will you measure? Just an example, you could align. So alignment means for us that this alignment take us 1 hour quarter. Good. So we do everything to really shorten the whole alignment process, and it's possible even in a big companies I also worked for. And second one, I promised two, right? Second one, if I still remember it, yes. Think about, it's kind of connected with this first one. Think about business context of your company first, framework after. So start with strategy, set strategy goals, choose right cycle, set hypothesis you want to check, and outcome you want to achieve. And work every day, of course, with those goals. Set regular planning, review. Do not do it occasionally. So what I mean is focus on the outcome you want to achieve, not on the framework. It again means that if you do not need other way around. If you already have somewhere in the teams retrospectives, then just check if you have, and what do you do on those during those retrospectives, rather than add something additional. So try to insert the whole OKR framework as a part of your daily life, not as something separate. Because if you will treat it as it's very similar actually to, I quite often compare this to the agile transformation, or even if you want to implement Scrum in the organization. You can do two things. You can implement mechanical Scrum, right? And you can really implement this mindset of thinking. The working with goals, it's a kind of mindset thing, because it's not just a tool, it's a way how you think about things. So if you start something, you first think, okay, about why I'm doing that, what problem I'm solving, what hypothesis I check, how I will recognize that at the end of the, I don't know, September or December, I will be there. And after that, I'm thinking about actions, right? So not other way around. I'm just thinking about outcomes and then about action. So to me, this is like, the first thing when you implement OKRs. So if you treat as a part of your work, not something additional, it will be easier, because a lot of fails in the companies I saw and even made it my myself. So it's not like, I'm just observing. I was also a participant of that we implement OKRs and then leave as it is.
Yeah, the questions that you mentioned about why do you want to implement OKRs and how do you know if you succeed are actually very valuable and let you think about why you're actually using this certain tool and is it aligned with your why and with the problem, and also not forget about the context. Yeah, the business context is crucial, of course, because we're not living in a you know empty box. We have our environment, we have the context, so we have to kind of try to fit the tool to the organization rather than the other way around. Yeah, fit ourselves to the tool and lose the outcome that we want to achieve on the way.
Just adding to that, because it's helped us to be honest to ourselves. And I had a few cases in my company when the customer approached us. We did a pilot for first 3 months, and then we found out that, or even tried or tested, that this is not the right tool. And the reasons could be really different. And it's okay that sometimes it's not a time, sometimes it's not the right setup. I just don't want to work as OKR framework proposed, because, the OKR means a lot of responsibility, it's autonomy, it's a kind of leadership. Not everyone wants to have this, let's say, style of leading. It's also easy, but not simple. Not easy, other way around. It's simple, but it's not easy. So sometimes it's there are more important challenges in the company, and you need to focus on really business as usual. So to maintain the company instead of focusing on the strategy. So there are various reasons where it's not recommended to start with OKRs, which is also fine. That's why I'm very let's say trying to be open in this, because it's important, because then you less disappointed when something is not working.
Yeah, yeah. I think it needs like the kind of balance between I want to achieve this or that and have like a clear strategy and I know where I'm going, with accepting the world and the uncertainty that we're living in the same time, while not giving up on the strategy, just maybe extending the time we are working on something, or just accepting some challenges. And that leads me to another question about the common myths around OKRs that you encountered in your career. And you mentioned one of them, for example, that OKRs have to be used for 3 months period, yeah? And that's set in the stone and we cannot change that.
Oh my God, yeah, it's about rules, and I will make some kind of digression here. I think that's, I mean, I don't know where I know it from where I know it, but that's what I think is that like people like some people like rules because when you set rules, there is always like someone who will follow it, and it make your life easier. You do not need kind of to choose, to reflect, to make decisions because you have these rules. That's, I mean, that's my kind of theory about like why are we like guidances, why we are like some framework settings, etc. Because it's easier. We say to ourselves, okay, someone used it, probably it will work for us. If it worked for Google, Spotify, it should work for us, right? But again, it's about rules, and there are rules which could help you, and there are rules which could lead you to nowhere. And I would say any rules about OKRs could be a myth if it doesn't help you to grow, if it doesn't help you to achieve your business goals. And I know that it sounds like, oh my God, really? So like what should we do then? What I usually say is we can take kind of, framework, some kind of frame. And if we do not know what to choose, then we can try someone else practice, check if it's suitable to us, if it's quite comfortable for us, if it helps us to implement business goals, and then decide if this rule is right for us. Because no one, to be honest, it's like someone comes to the company, some kind, smart assing consultant as me, and say, okay, guys, for you will work 4 months cycle of OKRs, and this is all you need. This will solve all your problems. But that's it's like it's stupid because I'm coming with this rule. I'm saying you need to do that, and then everyone does that, and then suddenly we found out that this cycle is totally not for us. The same is with we cannot. You should another myth. You should have 70% of OKRs of achievement of OKRs or something like that, or you cannot write down. No, you cannot use lead metrics in annual OKRs, or something like that, or uh, hmm, uh, you cannot use OKRs, or you cannot use OKRs for business as usual work, or you cannot this. There is a lot of you cannot do that, and then first it could lead you to the really fail because it will not help you. And the second one, it can simply freeze us because sometimes when we set too many rules and we are not sure, should we do that or should we not? So we spend so much time on analyzing, should we do, instead of really set it, try it, and then adjust. So inspect and adapt, inspect and adapt. That's what works. And that's what I usually recommend. So, okay, try with 3 months if you have no idea what to choose. See if it works for you, but then adjust if it doesn't.
Inspect and adapt. And yes, but first you need to like experiment with that. I think you need to give yourself also a chance to experiment whether that's working for you or not. And about the kind of the myths that you mentioned. Yeah.
I need to add this about this myth, this is a nice example of this rules. Someone in the company, let's say whatever company I work for, they come to me and ask, Lena, if this could be our OKRs. I was like, Is this coming from the strategy? Okay. Is this what you want to focus more in this quarter? Do you know why is this most important? Okay. Will it lead you to one step for that to implement, for example, annual goals? Yes. Okay. Then how can I tell you that this is the wrong OKRs? You know what I mean? So if someone can come and tell you that, no, from outside especially, and say, no, this is not a good OKR, that's like, what the,
Yeah.
like, how? Because no one can know if this OKR is right or wrong. It's your goal. It's if I would tell you, Beata, you cannot have the goal to travel at least 3 times a week. No, or 3 times a year. You cannot have this goal because it's not according to the rules. Like, but it's my goal. Yes, exactly. It's your goal. And that's what those myths and rules make for us. That's how I perceive it.
It's like we almost stop trusting ourselves. Yeah, stop trusting that we want what we want because that, for example, brings us happiness or joy or all the outcomes that we want to achieve in a business context, of course. And we just like seek external validation from experts or consultants or whoever. Yeah, very often randomly sometimes I think, just to find someone who will say yes you can have these goals or no you shouldn't, which doesn't
I
make
mean,
sense you
I
mentioned.
usually when I work with C-level, and I work mostly with boards and C-levels. It's not about like is it right goal for you, but is it aligned with your vision? Is it right time for your market? Do you understand right your customers? Do you understand the value proposition you deliver? Do you deliver this value, etc., etc.? Is this the right time? If there's a market for that, do you have the capability to implement such goals? Do you have knowledge, time, tool? Could you gain them? Could you buy them? Or you need to, I don't know, outsource, wait, or whatever. So it's really about business context. And what I believe that OKRs help to answer those questions in a sense of clarifying, checking if you are really like know what you're doing. Yeah. So it's more to me like a supporting tool of asking questions rather than something which tell you how to live.
And I think right now we can move to the OKRs application beyond the workplace, because very often we are all struggling with balancing like self-care, acceptance with striving for success. So can OKRs be used in personal life? And if so, how?
Okay, probably you from the beginning you hear it. I do not like overcomplicate the whole thing. Like myself, I'm using goals in my personal life. But to be honest, I don't call them OKRs in the sense of OKRs, because again, OKRs to me is objective measured by key results. So it's a measurable goals which you set the timeline, and it's okay. You can use the name OKR. Why not? And I would say that if it works for you, why not using it? Again, coming back to my previous sentences. And I think if it helps in your personal life to name things clearly, go for it. What I see is for sure it could help you to bring right habits, plan your work if you do not have it or you do not have other way of planning. But to be honest, to me, there is a huge list of other methods of settings, like your self effectiveness. So you can set goals and you can plan your work, not naming that OKRs. You can maintain your habit list, or I don't know, you can set smart goals, etc. Um, but and you mentioned this like balance, right? Work-life balance. Uh,
It's yeah, it's about like balancing kind of acceptance and self-care, I would call it. And the want of reaching the success defined for you, yeah, as in
yeah,
because yeah, we all have different
and
definitions of that.
here, yeah, probably I will go a bit beyond OKRs, but to me, that like this, it's so much beyond any framework. To me, the really first understanding yourself, your needs, your body, control, like really manage your thoughts, your emotions, understanding why are you doing things, and to me, it's going there and there is no such like gold framework or tool for everyone how to overcome, how to support this. And what I observe, because I help a lot of leaders to set this self effectiveness, I would say. And what I see, it's really depends a lot of on their personality, of our way of thinking, of way of doing things, our strengths, type, even favorite time of the day, how we really like to work. So if it works for you, then to me it's okay, right? But in the same time, what I see is it could not work for others. And if you call them OKRs, yeah, sure, why not? Because it set you kind of idea, right? Measurable outcome, goals. You can plan it, you can set for months, cycle, 3 months, half a year, whatever you can set, even annual goals. Yeah, for sure. Why not?
Yeah, it's about finding what works the best for you. With this kind of professional and personal application in mind, maybe let's talk about like how to get started with OKRs. So, what advice would you give to someone who is starting to use OKRs in their work or personal life?
Again, I will repeat myself. Set your why first. If it's company part, I would start with the understanding the vision, really clarifying the strategy. And as a strategy, I understand a set of decisions, also policies. You decide how you will win in the market, in on your customers, what is your unique value proposition, etc. And then after you have clarified that, if it's company goals, choose the pilot goal, I would say, so kind of testing goal, set the team around that. So it's other way around, because some companies use OKRs like they are copy paste the organizational structure with OKRs. So what I propose, it's something different. So set the strategy, coming from the strategy, set the hypothesis you want to check, how to move forward the strategy, set the goal, organize the team around this goal, like kind of cross-functional team, in a sense of whatever competences you need to achieve this goal. Work during this pilot, let's call it, okay, let's do it first 3 months, derive lessons learned from that. So really reflect if it works, if it helps you, if it's the right method. Do you know how to do it? And then scale. So don't really go everywhere for the whole company, for everything first. If you're doing the first, right? We are talking how to get started. So just one topic. And to me, the same as with personal, I would say, but I'm not an expert here in a sense of, like I said, to me, with the personal is a bit different approach, because it's a bit different way of thinking, right? How you want to achieve their goals. But again, to me, it's a more focus. So choose one, check if it works for you. So really trying small. And the next is really regular review plan. So plan every week those tasks under the goal, review it, check if it works, do right. So again, inspect and adapt, plan the next week and next week and next week. That's how I would do it.
Yeah, that's like a simpler approach rather than in a company because, yeah, we basically are working very often like alone on our personal goals. And that's, we are the bosses, we are the CEOs, we are the developers, talking about IT. And yeah, we have to manage all of this and not overcomplicate it. Um, but coming back to the work context, because very often the leaders are the ones who are setting the OKRs and they are like going um, and they are like trying to like communicate that and like make the teams adopting and benefit from OKRs. How can they do that? How they can support their teams in adopting and benefiting from OKRs?
Mm, okay, it's a great question, like American guys said. To me, that's where we come to my second favorite topic. It's a change. And like I said in the beginning, to me, the introducing OKRs, it's a change. So each change, you need to manage it. And to me, the leaders play a crucial role in the managing of the change, right? So if you let's take just an example, one of the framework of how to manage the change, ATCAR. I don't know if you know this framework where you need to have this knowledge, desire, knowledge, ability, and monitor, expect, and adapt. So what it means to me, it's that you need first to make sure you mentioned that even that OKRs it's a communication tool. First, you need to make sure that that story around why we are doing OKRs first. Why is this goal? Why it's important now is really clear for everyone, right? So you bring the clear information about what OKRs are, why those goals. I have so many examples when leader comes to. I mean, I know that it's a bad example, but I need to share it. It was just today morning. The leader, we do the kind of kickoff of the team. The leader introduced the goal and said, "This goal which our board set." So this was like, the reason why we are doing this goal, like how it could motivate people, how it could bring them to thinking, it's because of this vision, this strategy, this challenge, this policies, this decision, this hypothesis. What I usually recommend is to put near OKRs the hypothesis you check, so to really understand intention why we have this goal. So first, coming back to this change, right, and what leaders could do, they should manage it, and first having really clear information why is that. Then there is also understanding which knowledge people should have to work on the goals, right? This knowledge could be so different. It could be the need of understanding the tool we are using. It could be a need of understanding, I don't know, some financial specificalities of the company, or that there will be so many needs of the team. The leader can support to get this knowledge of the team, but the leader needs to be mindful, right? If this which knowledge needed, etc. So it's again the change, right? So or it could be knowledge. Okay, OKRs. When I saw so many like examples, then someone just introduced an OKRs to the company and they say, "This is our OKRs. Please do." And OKRs. What are OKRs? Objective and key results. So it's so obvious. No, you need to help to introduce, like you need to introduce this knowledge. So maybe do like a short introduction, what OKRs are, what OKRs for, why our company choose OKRs, what do we want to achieve by that, why are we why are we setting such an OKRs, etc. So what else, right? From the change, you can uh, again make sure that there is an inspection and adaptation in the team, right? So that the team is really doing this reflection, not like, okay, plan all tasks and then next task and then next task and next task. And after year, we do a retrospective and asking ourselves, what was wrong? Nice, but it's not leading you, so you are not working in the cycle. So it's, to me, again, because yeah, I'm repeating myself a bit, but it's important. If you are introducing the work with goals in the company, like I said, it's in a change, and it's a changing of habits. And we all know that when you need to introduce the new habit, it's an upside and down, right? Up and downs, ups and downs, because sometimes you get this new habit and suddenly something happening and you are back, and again and again and again until you really get this new habit. So as a leaders, we can observe, see, name, and help to keep these habits. They use one of the simple way: schedule the meetings, be consequent, don't forget about that, ask, monitor, check, give feedback, make sure that what we agreed in the beginning of the cycle, we do it during the cycle, not because there are quite a lot of approaches when we set the goals and then we say, please go and do that. And then in 3 months, someone come and say, how are you with the goal? They're like, different. But there is no reflection on that. There is, we are, the leaders could forget about goals they set themselves. So yeah, I know the long answer, but that's what I think the leaders could do. So summarizing it, it's really managing the change.
Yeah, it's managing the change. It's that's very interesting how all these, tools and techniques in project, product management, business are just interconnected. Yeah. Um, and that's very important what you said, that very often we hear from the managers, from leaders, these are the goals because the board wants us to achieve that. And that's all. And maybe in like more hierarchical kind of environments, it could work because there is like a strict like follow of the hierarchy. But in the kind of this um, I would say more flat structures, you can't force people, to achieve the goals that they don't understand. And yeah, they are just not interested, not involved. And that's setting you for failure. Um, but if we're talking about the also intention and explaining why we are doing something, why we are achieving something, there is also this piece of execution. And it's very difficult because you need a lot of self discipline, I would say, or motivation and focus. So, do you have any tips? For example, we can focus on 3 tips for maintaining motivation, focus when working towards OKRs.
The execution could be boring, but at the same time, it could be exciting if first, like, really clarifying why are we doing things, what roles are, like, a lot of people think it's artificial to repeat things, to name things, but if you at least once name who is doing what, why do we need you in this goal, what role you're playing, in which hat you are in this team, because we all in our companies have a lot of hats, right? You can be a team leader, you can be a specialist of that, and in the same time responsible for some other area. So like name things like why are we doing this, in which role, plus contracting and here comes our rules when I'm saying contracting. So to me, those rules for example, working, if we have this team which organized around the goal, like set kind of rules. How do we meet? How often? When do we talk? Which communication channel we use, right? How do we like to work with each other, for example? That helps you to execute because you do not have this barrier of communication. Another boring tip, it's constantly monitor. So every week meet and ask how confident we are that we achieve our OKRs. Okay, let's say we are not so confident. Okay, how we can overcome, what can we do to move forward? What new sources we can involve? What different activities we can start to make sure that we will achieve our OKRs? So it's a constant, regular monitoring and doing good retrospective, not like, oh, okay, if it was okay, we don't know, or we know. So like reflect. So because OKRs are mostly about um, finding the way how we win. So finding the tasks and activities that help you to find the way you really achieve your goals. And if you find that, but by finding them, I mean that we're really looking for them and we are talking about them. So let's say every week we are really talking about what helps us to achieve those goals. So it's a kind of pushing, so push the team which organized around goal to reflect, constantly reflect, like not doing these things automatically, robotically, whatever, but just really reflect. So do this stop every Friday or every Monday. Stop, think, okay, are actions we do helping us to achieve the goal? If not, then let's change the way how we act.
Yeah, but I would also add this transparency because you mentioned about clarifying why we're doing something and what we are actually doing, and monitoring, which is a lot about um, also being transparent with yourself and with your team, and a bold, a little bit bold, because it's not always easy to like sit and to look at the tasks, the metrics, and think like, oops, I think we are doing something in a wrong way, because basically it's not working. We are not closer to the goal that we set. Although there is this piece also of time, yeah, to give ourselves time, because sometimes working on the goal is just time consuming, yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking you asked me about personal areas, right? About how to use, for example, OKRs in our personal area. And I think it's very much similar here because I don't know what is your experience, but my experience with my life that if I even write down to myself something, even it could be the best goal I believe in, whatever, but if I will not plan tasks and plan the time of doing the things, it will not happen. It will not happen by itself, right? So if I will, I don't know, if I will plan to build the house and in the same time I have a bunch of family issues, or plus I have a lot of studies, etc., and I simply do not have time to do this additional project, then probably I will simply not achieve that.
It's about planning in the calendar. When, like a recording, for example, if we wouldn't plan it, it wouldn't happen, yeah. So that it's that simple. It's that simple. Although, yeah, in private life sometimes, I think we're just not used to like planning the time for ourselves and our personal projects. It's more like at work we have this super calendar, and we're just working, okay, on this and that because we have a meeting, because we have something like that. We need to work on the strategy. Where in life we have something important for us, and we just don't plan it. Don't plan the certain tasks to achieve those goals. And
You're
then,
talking to the wrong person. I'm planning everything.
I mean, I'm planning to. I'm planning to. That's to the point that, yeah, I'm using OKRs in my personal life, which is crazy. I was sharing them yesterday with my close friends to just check whether I'm still sane or not for planning everything so carefully. But we'll see. This is the experiment I'm doing. So, yeah, actually, it worked pretty well in the last Q3, although I didn't achieve all the like key results, but it was working with the podcast and so on. So yeah,
Oh,
let's
right.
see what's the next quarter bring.
Keep my fingers.
Thank you. Um, yeah, hearing about the experiences that you had and also that I had is great. But now we can look a little bit ahead, maybe to the future of OKRs. So, how do you see the future of OKRs evolving in the next few years? Are there any maybe emerging trends or innovations in the field of strategic planning and OKRs?
When I talk to other coaches from different countries, OKR coaches, we exchange, observations, and we have our masterminds quite often. I see that right now, the most of them are realizing that we need to work with strategy first, that we need to be able to clarify vision, strategy, to set right OKRs. So it means that we and I hope in my heart that in a few years, that's maybe not the future, near future, but or again, maybe it's in my bubble I live. I hear so many information about strategy, how to set strategy, what is the framework about the strategy, how we can work with the strategy. So a lot of people trying to do that right, and I believe that we will find a way to do that easier, and we will not be ashamed if we don't know how, and we will ask uh, uh, yeah, others how to about help. So and so this is first thing. Second part, I laugh and I observe that finally. So, but again, maybe it's just in my observation that there is a less and less companies trying to copy just organizational structure to OKRs, but they are really thinking about the business first and setting OKRs as a part of company, not that it really works in the whole company, because we do not need OKRs for doing everything. We do not need to maintain our business and use OKRs there. There's no really need. You just need a good planning and good prioritization there. So that's so I hope that it will become kind of normal rather than some kind of anomalia. That's how I call it. And interesting part also to me, what I observe is that once a company start with OKRs, there is no way back. So even if they stop call them OKRs, they still work with goals.
Okay.
That's a kind of probably mindset, way of thinking. So I believe that the future is that it will be kind of normal work for every company, that we need to set goals. Will be like a part of each company lives. So the last part, what I observe, and I hope that this is also the future of OKRs. You probably also observed it, that right now we have a lot of kind of reflection time about a lot of frameworks, right? So that it's this the trend that agile is somewhere this unfixed idea, the idea of that of each actually frameworks kind of advertise themselves that they please use just the part you need to use to help your business grow, not just copy paste to your company and work with that. So that I see that maybe we really will more in our companies start to do like a puzzle. So you take your part which will help you to grow your business, this good practice which help only you, and do not take everything in from all frameworks. So we will probably simplify, and instead of over complication. So I guess there's too many areas where it's become more and more complex. So we will probably look for simple methods to work efficient and fast.
Yeah. Keep it simple, stupid. Yeah, as this is one of the kind of rules of making something very simple and understandable and working. And as we are wrapping up, I wanted to ask about one piece of advice to our listeners about using OKRs.
So many advices. uh, I would be not true to myself if I would not say that I really cannot give any advice without knowing the context.
Mm.
So I would encourage you to try the way of thinking about goals. So set the goal, plan your work, and decide if it fits for you. So to me, it's like try, because I talk a lot about what not works also with OKRs, but I still very much believe in the method itself, in kind of way of work. So I would just encourage you, if you haven't tried an OKRs, try them.
Yeah, try and experiment and adjust on the way. Um, so, what are you the most excited about in your upcoming projects or personal adventures?
Uh, I'm excited person, like in general.
Oh,
So,
yeah, I can see that. I can see that. I can sense that.
yes, I really like what I do, and right now I'm working on my company growth, and how we build our results with our customers. So I usually day by day excited observing my customers' transformations. So that's what I'm really excited about that, because they do not see it only in figures, financial figures, that it grow, but I see the transformation inside them, inside boards, inside C levels, and they become more calm, less stressful about their companies. So, and this is my like day by day usual excitement. At least what like first come into my mind. There are a lot of projects, a few projects. I will not name them yet. You will hear about them for sure in the nearest future. From my private life, I cannot wait to visit my family in Prague in August. But probably this part will be later, right? So you will listen. You will listen this much later. So I will be after, and probably you will hear about some of my projects already. Uh, yeah. So that's what I'm excited about right now.
That sounds, yeah, that sounds very well balanced, I would say, like between the professional projects, but also like a personal life. And for our listeners who want to connect with you, collaborate with you, or learn more about your work, where they can find you.
Always on LinkedIn. So it's my channel of my activity. Of course, a bit on Facebook, a bit on Instagram. Sometimes I post there. You can email me. Come and visit us and drink a coffee with OKRs with us. We do it regularly, at least once a month, and you can just join the live on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and or write an email.
Okay, I'll link your channel to the podcast description, so the listeners can find you is easier maybe. And yeah, thank you for our discussion today. Thank you for your advices, and thank you for for all the advices and for all the simple methods that we can implement right away. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a pleasure. And thank you for inviting me.
Thanks for joining me on another episode of Doing It My Way by Beata Matras. If you enjoyed this episode, please do not forget to subscribe. Remember, this podcast is a dynamic journey and your feedback is very welcomed. Connect with me on social media. I would like to hear your thoughts, questions, and topic suggestions. And stay tuned for upcoming episodes. And until next time, keep doing it your way.